And I'm going to give this recording a shot. I haven't done one in a while, so I just compiled a whole bunch of games from last night and tonight. They're actually, it was actually, the time rolled over, so this was all played in a single night for me. But there's a mixture of Edric and Queen games in here, mixture of people who are friends and random strangers, uh, matches and single games, good players and bad, and we will see how it all works out. So hopefully this will be fun for you. Anyway, this person here is playing Rafika the Many, and I'm playing Edric, and I'm going to try to run through these games as quickly as I can. I get to go first, and so somehow this is my first game of the night. I'm not paying attention. I missed playing the map. Really regretted it because I wanted a map here, but we'll see what happens. So I snap his ascendant to buy a little time and draw a card. And his obvious play was just to get it back down again, and so he does. And I get Tomb down, so I cast a new addition to the deck, Court of Calling for 4, and snag his Ascendant, and then untap Scrib and swing. And he attempts to Ban Charm my Sower. I've got Muddle, so I say no to that, and that's all she wrote. Court of Calling so far, kind of awesome. Oh, there we go. Alright, so next I'm playing a match, it seems. A match against whom? Alex 2002. We actually played quite a few games this evening, just because he wanted to, cut his teeth against various decks. So we start out playing Edric versus Zur, and he generally, I should say, gives me quite a challenge, so I enjoy playing against him. But this game, I've got a very fast start. I get my commander down, start drawing some cards, pass for the turn. Oh, no, I guess not. Then I pass for the turn, and he goes for his commander. I'm not sure why I didn't pick up the Finhorn and just mana drain it there. I guess I had something in mind, so what was it? It was... oh, I guess he conceded before it mattered. I was probably going to Mystical for... was I going to get Psyblast? Court of Calling, maybe? I'm not entirely sure. Might have ended up just Court of Calling for Sower again. Anyway, he scoops to a whole bunch of mana and a tutor, which is a pretty fair assessment of how the game was going to go down. So then he wants to play his Widwin the Biting Gale control deck, different kind of control deck against Edric. I think this is just strictly inferior compared to Zur. It's the same 4 mana cost. It's in the same colors, -1, which makes it worse in as far as your deck composition goes. It doesn't draw cards. Zur does. In fact, Zur just flat out wins. Zur just flat out wins if it swings. So I see no reason whatsoever to play Widwin, but if the man wants to try, or I presume Alex is a man based on the name, but if the man wants to play a inferior commander, I am going to play him, and we're going to hopefully have a good game. So Glenn comes down, which usually is a problem, but unfortunately Glenn comes down for him, unfortunately, while he's tapped out, and so I'm able to play Shackles. And he gets Shackles of his own, so that's kind of weird. But I draw a Metamorph, and you cannot counter a Metamorph, so I play Edric for whatever reason, not with Glenn I mean. And he tries to take my Edric, so I just bounce it to my hand to untap Boreal Druid and then steal his Glenn while he's tapped out. I'm not sure what I was trying to do here. I do remember thinking that I wanted Glenn or Edric in my hand for Force of Will, actually. But and Force of Will is not so good when your opponent has a Glenn and some mana to use it. But in the end, I go with this play here, and maybe that's why I did it, just to get Force of Will ready, but I clone his Glen, so now I can counter one of his spells, and it'll come back out as a copy of something else. I love cloning persist creatures. So I play Mystic, leaving just this up, but of course I can pick up an elf and untap Boreal Druid if I need to. He tries to take my Glen, I just let it happen. Because now he's got to leave his Shackles untapped. And I mean, I'm not going to actually cast anything for these to do anything, so it doesn't really matter that much to me. So then he decides he's going to go for Damnation, and I am totally cool with that. So I pick up an elf to untap my less powerful guy, float a mana, let his Damnation resolve. He gets his Glen back, then my clone pops out, and I steal his Shackles first, and my clone pops out, and I steal clone Shackles. So Shackles has a -1/-1 counter on it. It's something you don't see every day, but doesn't affect anything. And now I've got Shackles superiority, Glen is ready to go, Edric is swinging. This was like perfect. It couldn't have happened better for me there. And he's in a lot of trouble. So I just said Edric, I guess because of the creeping tar pit. And he decides to take it. And the one thing I'm missing now is mana. A little bit frustrating because I need to leave 2 up for Shackles and 1 for Glen. So there I finally get some land. So he attempts to get his commander down, and what I decide I'm going to do is allow him to block and then steal it. So if I try and steal it before blockers, he steals it back and then he blocks and kills my guy. But if I let it block and then steal it, he could steal it in response, which won't do anything whatsoever. He has to let me take it. And once it changes control, it is no longer in combat, so my creature will not die, even if he takes it back. It's treated as a brand new one. So then I go ahead and play Priest, and he takes Glen, which is fine. There's no way around double Shackles, my friend. So I go to steal his Glen again, and he tries to tap all my creatures and bounce the Glen Elendra, and I just tap for mana, and I'm okay with that. So he bounces a clone back, or a Glen back to his hand, which he'll be able to play, you know, fresh. But I floated mana, and so I just natural order and end any hopes he had at more Shackle shenanigans, and he gives up. So here he was playing against, oh yeah, it was a 2 out of 3. So here, same commanders, and I'm going to get through these a little quicker. I've got an amazing hand, so he's going first, however. So lead off this way. Tried to brainstorm in response to Soul Ring, but he hoping for like a counter or something. Don't find it, so get down Bird Clamp. I'm just chilling for a minute, and then Cradle shows up. I play Cloud and then tap Fairies with the untap ability on the stack, targeting Cradle. Well, actually you make the targets after the fact, so then I go ahead and cast my creature and do that again. Cast Trigon, tap for 7, and start drawing some cards. So draw, cast, clamp, and pass. So pretty sick turn there. I drew like 7 cards that turn or something. Yeah, I drew 7 cards and spent like 10 mana, or more. I spent like 12 mana. So he Damnations and I draw even more cards. Cast Edric thanks to Tomb turning on Cradle, and then very foolishly I kill his Tomb. I should have killed the Dust Bowl, but I don't know what I was doing there. I think I wanted him to spend the turn Dust Bowling the Cradle, and then just I had enough mana in my hand to, you know, just win the game anyway. What I didn't want him to do though was but what I wasn't thinking, well, I guess it wasn't that dumb, but anyway, so Snapcaster clones the blast, and I blast this guy, so he gets to draw a card. But I didn't lose a card. I got a creature. He got to draw a card, so that was okay. And I'm gonna draw a second card to make up for the extra land he got. So basically, a complete wash on the. He got Solemn let him draw a card and put a land into play, and Snapcaster let me draw 2 cards, so we came out even. Plus I got a creature to show for it. So he clones his Soul Ring there, and I play Hermit, which is kind of nuts when you have Court of Calling in your hand. And send in a little bit of guys, and also when you have a Clamp in play. And then for whatever reason, I don't know why, I meant to not attack with this. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I would have enough mana to fetch my Sower. But for some reason I turned the Snapcaster sideways there. Screwed myself up. So I had to come up with a new plan. So I just Clamp Hermit because I'm not going to pay the cost on it, and draw the Sower that I should have cheated out. So I throw it away because it's probably not going to work out too well beyond the turn where he's tapped out. And Sword of Fire and Ice, while reasonably decent card against Yidwin or whatever that is, didn't seem as good to me because it's a little bit slow and I've got better things to do with my mana. So I just go fetch Mana Drain and Chord for 2. Give myself a Bloom Tender so I can get my mana right. And I know you can Dust Bowl my Trop here, so that was another mistake there. I should have left Double Island untapped, not the Island Trop. But on the other hand, it costs him 4 mana on his turn to do it, so relatively safe. It's not going to do that and then play like a big spell. So down comes Bloom Tender and out comes Cradle. And now all of a sudden I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6 mana or whatever, and I can play Shackles. And quite often the game is really about like Cradle dominance. It's one of the reasons why I really like both Map and Crucible in this version of the deck. I think Cradle is just that good, and I have considered playing even more ways to fetch it because it really is just that good. But yeah, he gives up in the face of that excessive mana superiority, which was going to go hand in hand with cards. So I double mulligan against some Blade Wind the Risen deck, and he goes first turn Faithless Looting through a mana source and a squee, and I'm like, hey, this looks like a respectable deck. I mean, it looks like a bad deck when you look at his dragon, but then it's like, hey, you're starting out with Ancient Tomb, Faithless Looting, Squee, and a mana source. Like, those are things I would play if I had to play this as a commander, even the Signet. So I have a lot of respect for how this deck is developing. Night's Whisper, this could be a very big problem, especially given my weak initial start with the double mulligan. So he loots again, goes a Hellkite and a Squee. So if this thing comes out, that thing comes out. Could be a problem. And then he plays a Dragon Master. Could be a problem, but it probably won't be. Only because I have a really good turn here. So I play Cloud of Fairies, which lets me abuse Simic Growth Chamber. Search for a Mana Drain and pass. I really like Faithless Looting and Squee. In fact, that's so good that I wonder if that's showing up in any formats where that's legal, like besides this. Because I mean, you could do some seriously good stuff with Faithless Looting and a Squee. Especially like 2 Squees. I mean, 2 Squees and 1 Faithless Looting is like red draw. It's an Ancestral Recall, and you can keep using it. It's kind of, well, you can use it a couple of times anyway. It's pretty cool. I mean, of course, Bazaar Baghdad would be a better choice to pair with it. But I mean, I wonder if there's a format where Bazaar is not legal, but Squee and Faithless Looting is legal. Like, for example, Modern? Is Squee legal in Modern? I don't know. But that sounds like really fun. I mean, if it is, someone really ought to put something like that together. So anyway, I'm playing this cat here, Zusa. Lost but Sucking. Cards like strictly inferior to Oracle of Moldiah, which is in my hand. so I'm definitely not worried about playing against this junk deck. So I Oracle down a Simic Growth Chamber, play land and Simic Growth Chamber that turn. He gets to play Zazusa, and he gets to play a Forest, and yeah, who cares? This game's totally over. So he gives up. And then I'm playing against somebody who, for whatever reason, just decides not to play, so no big deal there. And here I've got, oh yeah, my opponent's playing Silver Queen. This could be cool. So somebody who knows what the right 5-color commander is to play, and I've got a mulligan, I think. Yep, and that looks like a mulligan. Okay, 5-card hand is not great. Aww. Very disappointing. So he mulligans to win and gives up. Admiral something or other there. I think I could have swore we played though. I guess not. Alright, so moving on. I'm playing against or maybe it didn't, you know, not everything gets into the recordings. I'm not really sure why, but here's this guy playing Damia, so this could be very cool. I love playing against these challenging, threatening commanders. It's really nice to see. I mean, sometimes I was thinking like it'd be interesting to make a list of which commanders for which color combinations are worth playing and which one, and then of course everything else is only reasonable if you're interested in handicapping yourself. I mean, there are a couple different ones in certain color combinations, but like the only correct answer in green and blue is Edric. However, if you wanted to handicap yourself, you could use Prime Speaker. Anything other than Edric and Prime Speaker is probably severely handicapping yourself. So I'm barely paying attention to this game, but my opponent here gave me his Thrumming Bird. And the funny thing is, like, I've got Sword going, and usually, you know, you try to spend all your mana, but, I mean, what am I going to do? Witness up a Scalding Tarn? Not at all. Regrow one? Nope. Clone a Thrumming Bird? I don't think so. It is kind of cool, though, that this thing is basically pumping out elephants for me, freebies. So, I draw yet more land. Pass for the turn. Even the fact that I'm crazy mana flooded and have all these spells I can't cast, I mean, I'm going to eventually. So, before the sword ability triggers, I float my mana just in case I draw something like this. I float it every time, if you notice. Once sword goes on the stack, once I know it's not going to be creature's not going to be killed or something, I tap out. And now, thanks to Court of Calling, I've got a use for it. Rar. So, here it is. X is 5. Hello, Drained Hermit. Wait, I'm not done yet, because I got a Garrick. And Phantasmal Image. Hello, Drained Hermit. But wait, I'm not done yet. I got a land drop. And Wirewood Symbiote. And untap whatever. Hello, Drained Hermit. Yeah. Good old Court of Calling. Fetching me 3 Drained Hermits. So my opponent bounces Edric. And I pick up my Phantasmal Image end of turn. And then during my upkeep, I pick up my Hermit. And go large with the overrun. And for the fun of it, I play a Spiketail, and I could have swore I was going to play another. Oh, there was nothing to image because all the Hermits are gone. All the Hermits are gone. Oh well. But it is turn, what, 6? And my opponent is about to drop to, yeah, turn 6, negative 54, after bouncing one of my things. It's pretty cool. I thought that was pretty cool. Alright, so anyway, so here's a match game against, oh, the Woodwind deck again. Hopefully you're not too sick of it. I am just trying to show you all the games that I played. I think there was a game where I got completely mana screwed, or I made like a horrible misclick or something, and I lost. So add that to this list of games, but I'm not going to go on it because it was either like a terrible misclick that completely cost me the game and left me feeling upset and frustrated because I really got an outcome I was not supposed to get. Or it was just a random, okay. Oh no, it was a mana screw. I remember now. I did have a misclick tonight, but anyway, no, I had a mana screw that was crazy. I drew 18 cards without finding any mana sources, and I lost. So, oh well. Anyway, so this game is going interestingly. He's been able to force a will my Soul Ring, so significantly crimping my mana development there. But it is looking a little better now. The only problem here is I got this Force of Will and no blue cards. I would feel a lot happier if I could locate a blue card. Down comes Edric. Oh yeah. Maybe I'll find one with one of these. And I don't know why it didn't swing. Oh, the game is glitching out. Oh, well that stinks. I guess I won't play it out. This was a great game, and it was a long one too. It was a really long, harsh battle. He's got something in play that wouldn't have allowed me to swing last turn. I just don't know what it is, a blocker or something. Shucks. Alright. Let me go find some other interesting games here. So here I was playing against Cameron Shunta, another person on my friends list. This is a match, and this time I'm playing against RNG Nonsense. Random Number Generator Nonsense, Maelstrom Wanderer. I mulligan my first hand, even though it has a crypt. It's always painful to do that. And the trick to making this deck good is drawing a Soul Ring. It's really funny because I don't have a problem with Soul Ring the way I think Brian does, but I've come to understand perhaps a little better why he has a problem with it, I think. And if I understand correctly, his problem with it is this. There are decks that build around having a Soul Ring, and in a 100-card format where you only have one of everything, if you're not playing like, black and white and blue, black, white, and blue, where you can like tutor the Soul Ring and reliably hit it, like Sliver Queen does, if you aren't playing that, and you build your deck around Soul Ring, and you're gonna lose whatever the statistical probability of not drawing a Soul Ring is, which has got to be probably around 80+%, probably 85% or higher of your games are going to be lost because you're not going to draw one and you won't mulligan into one. And the rest of the time, you have a very good chance of winning because you build around having a Soul Ring. Contrast that to like the Edric deck. It's not built around having a Soul Ring, but if I get a Soul Ring, you're probably in a lot of trouble, right? So that's like a reasonable strategy, but this card can be very frustrating when your opponent relies on it and they hit it. Because somebody who builds a deck around a card that they have no way of fetching other than mulligans in a 100-card singleton format probably doesn't deserve to win even when they draw it. In a sense, you know what I mean? Because it's like building your deck around a coin flip card and then winning the flip. It'd be very upsetting for the other person, because especially if you have to flip like heads, 6 times in a row or something. I mean, or 3 times in a row or whatever. It's just silly. Anyway, so you see what's happening here. He's got a tremendous start, and I am way behind, and I have to do something crazy right now. I have to actually snap his frickin' LD creature in order to start searching for solutions. What I'm really, really looking for is mana. And so he replays it and I counter it. I need mana badly. Where is my mana? So now I claim away that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if he draws a land, I'm definitely losing this game. But he draws, and it comes into play tapped, and I think, oh great, I have a chance to be in this game. And then he plays Niv Mizzet, Draco Genesis. Okay, so I have no chance to be in this game. And I have no chance to be in this game because I cannot find mana. But maybe here I will draw some mana. This is the mana screwed game, by the way. And I still don't. So 18 cards, no land drawn. So that was game 1. So game 2, and it was that was frustrating because usually like the opponent's deck with this guy, they have to get really lucky to win. Instead of my opponent getting lucky and beating me, well, my opponent did have a good start. It was my deck that gave up on me. Almost anyone would have beat me with almost anything when you're when you're mana screwed that badly. So it was kind of a frustrating little game there. Anyway, so this ramp deck starts ramping, as do I. And so I have to make a weird play here. I have to actually kind of tap in a very funky way. But I figure that's the best chance I have because 3, 5, 6 mana over there, a 7th land probably won't. There's very few lands or ways that my opponent can actually cast Wanderer here. And even if my opponent can and attacks, I'm going to have to try to get back in the game by attacking back. And if my opponent has Wrath of God like Pyroclasm or Earthquake or something, I'm just going to lose anyways. So by going kind of all in like this, I have a chance to win the game. And so it looks good. I don't get punished for the all-in strategy, and I Ancestral Recall this turn. Boom, boom, boom for 0 mana, and that is good enough to get her done. So I end the turn, and my opponent plays Wanderers. So now it's really just another stupid coin flip to see if I lose the game or what. I mean, if they flip time walk, I guess I guess you win. Good job, So first spell is Garruk Primal Hunter. Kind of awesome in this deck. Draw 7, that seems pretty good. Thought about Unified Willing that, but I realize I've got a techie play where if my opponent does a -3 on the Wanderer and I bounce the Wanderer in response with Rift, I could have my opponent kill Garruk and get nothing to show for it. So, based on that assessment, I let Garruk go. And then I see Mirror Battlesphere, and I'm very happy that I let Garruk go. That thing cannot hit the table, so get rid of that. Wanderer comes down, and I'm crossing my fingers hoping that Garruk is about to -3. But nope, Beast. So I stick with the original plan though and go ahead and just bounce the Wanderer. Because I can kill Garruk by doing this. Snapcastering and rebouncing the Beast and then swinging in for just enough damage to actually kill it. And then I go ahead and play a Growth Chamber. So now I am in a tough spot for a moment. I really did want to Orb there, but then again, Orb's not that great against, Grawl Turf, Ancient Tomb. Killing this thing is great. So my opponent has one more turn to make something awesome out of the opening that I've given him. And she or he uses it to Terastodon me. And Terastodon me rarely works out. I am okay with you doing that. I play Terastodon because I am not afraid of my own card. And here's why. Better than Winter Orb. I have a better play than Winter Orb, and this is it. At least I think it's better. Chord for 2. Phantasmal Image Terastodon. Boom, boom, boom. Triple lands. Dead. Double level up. And I'm going to be fine on mana in just a sec. How about you? So I draw a Glen and send for 9. Now I get to start trying to draw cards. And this trade-off happens, and I'm totally cool with that. Because next turn, I get to send, Elephants, Snapcaster, all this good stuff, and draw like a whole bunch more. So that trade-off happens. Good deal for me. Do some leveling there. Edric now produces 2, so I can play Vedalken Shackles and pass. So no Bird of Paradise if my opponent were to draw that. And yeah, Cameron gives up. So that was pretty cool. I'm going to have to definitely break this up into 2 videos with this video going so long. So here's game 3, the tiebreaker. And I keep a really, really sketchy hand, but it does have acceleration, and it has a clone, so I can just clone one of my opponent's either land searching creatures like Solemn Simulacrum or artifact mana sources like, Signet or whatever. And plus I have claim to clear out an early Soul Ring or something that I don't want to see. So I keep it on the basis of that reasoning, and we will see how this works out for me. Not so well. Azusa, that's not artifact mana. This is not working out well at all. And Jace, no, this is not exactly what I was hoping for. Not at all. Jace and Azusa, man, Azusa is so terrible until like Jace shows up, and then just like everything else Jace touches, it becomes golden, right? So look at this horrible situation I'm in. My opponent's ramping like crazy, drawing extra cards, and I'm stuck on mana with all blue spells just about, except for this one claim, which I'm about to blast his vault with. But I find an Oracle, and there's a land on top, and it's blue. Yes! So I play the land and pass. And the coolest thing happens. My opponent Jaces, and then taps out for Consecrated Sphinx. And you would think, man, I have a Brainstorm on top of my deck. Consecrated Sphinx, that can't be good for me at all. But you would be wrong. And then somehow, I don't know, this was just a complete oversight on Cameron's part, but he sends in Azusa, and I'll block. Sounds good to me. And now, awesome sauce. So, my opponent draws 2, and I clone a Consecrated Sphinx. And then I say, hey, you want to draw some cards? Let's see what happens. So I Brainstorm. It puts 3 triggers of my opponent drawing 2 cards each. That's 6 cards. And I'm hoping Greed is going to get them. Come on, Greed. Go, Greed. So my opponent stacks, and yes, chooses to draw cards, which puts 2 copies to draw 2 cards on my side of the table. So thank you very much. So I'll take 2, which gives him 2 copies to draw 2 cards each. So you can see they're all waiting to resolve. Don't be greedy. Don't do it. Oh, my opponent's greedy, so I get to draw 4 more cards. Thank you very much. Yum. And, oh, are you going to be greedy again? Are you going to do it? I haven't even played a land this turn. Oh, Cameron realizes this may not have been the best plan. Little late now, bud. I draw 2 more cards. And hey, here's 2 more chances. I just drew some cards. You probably should take some, right? Come on, do it. Do it. Do it. Oh, bummer. Here, look. I'm going to give you 2 more chances to draw extra cards. I'm such a nice guy. Look at that. This is like 6 cards. How can you say no to 6 cards? Come on, take them. Oh, my opponent doesn't take any more, but I've got 2 land drops, and that is all I needed. So this is the top of my library here, and this, of course, is my commander. I'll just minimize that guy and my opponent's commander. So we want to keep the Maelstrom Wanderer from owning me. I want to deal with Jace, and I need to deal with Consecrated Sphinx, preferably all in one turn. How do we do that? Well, I didn't hit Gaia's Cradle, which would have been cool, but I've got a Mana Vault and a Snap. I love Snap. It's so good in this deck. So much tempo. So I thought about untapping Tomb, but I was looking at it, and actually all I need is green. So I just put some extra mana down this way and go this route. I have 1 left in case he had like a Daze. And I natural order my my half a Soul Ring guy, and the fat stack comes down. And surprisingly, I don't kill Jace. It's so weird. Why don't I kill Jace? Well, I don't kill Jace because if my opponent bounces Consecrated Sphinx, you see what's going to happen right there? Oh yeah, go ahead, bounce my Sphinx. And my opponent bounces Chassid on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What are you going to do? I mean, you could bounce Oracle, and I'm just going to attack kill Jace. So yeah, keep the Jace. You just don't get any mana. And so I pass the turn that way and decide I'm going to throw away my Jace. I actually don't need it. I'm insanely loaded with cards, and I'm planning on bouncing his whole board with either Scroll or Muddle. And in fact, I just throw away the muddle because I don't even need the muddle. I've got scroll, so I'll scroll for Rift. I've got Remand to go with it. I've got Sower in case he does play something interesting. Glen that I can use to protect that whole scenario. Pod, which is just pod, and of course my double lands. And the top of my library is Tez, I believe. Oh no, excuse me. The top of my library is Arayo. So I pass. My opponent draws his normal turn. I get to draw 2 more cards to boot. Map and Arayo, and I've got a Windswept Heath showing. So he clones Terastodon. You want to play? Let's play. Alright, works for me. So I float a blue for no good reason other than because, you should. There's no mana burn in the game, so why not? He declares his attack step to empty my pool and makes a play. Explore, which draws me 2 more cards. Not so good for ya. And there's a Rift. I don't even have to search for it. He gets to play an extra land, but he makes the very silly mistake that I was hoping he was going to make and bounces my Terastodon, which is actually a clone who costs 3 mana. Not too cool for my opponent. So finally I draw a card and take some damage, and you see that map that I drew? Freaking map. So good. So I map, and map gets Cradle. Cradle comes down. Still haven't played I played a land too. I also played an island for whatever reason. I'm not entirely sure why I did that. Cast Birds. And with just enough mana to remand, using the blue I have and the one floating, in case I have to. I metamorph Terastodon again. It's so horrible. Oh, make it stop. It's never gonna stop, my friend. We're just gonna keep on smashing. So then I Merchant Scroll. Since he did not have a counter, I Merchant Scroll for a Force of Will of my own. But I guess he's had enough Terastodon action. Terastodon. And if my opponent had not had enough Terastodon action at this point in the game, I probably would have rifted next turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yeah, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So what I would have done is 7 for Rift, 3 for Edric, 3 for Pod, and 1 to activate Pod. So it would have gone like this. Cast Edric for 3, tap Cradle. Actually, Cradle would produce 1 more. So cast Edric, tap my Cradle, play Pod, activate Pod, kill the Edric, go get, well, actually not kill Edric, it would be kill Bird, go get my other clone Terastodon, kill his islands and Jace, then bounce all his crap. So would have been pretty cool, but I got a scoop anyway. So I think this video is more than long enough. I will go through the rest of these games in another one. Hope you enjoyed these, and check out my other video.